What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I was going to say back again, but we have to say
Welcome
back.
back.
Welcome
Hard
back.
stop.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the first time that you're seeing our two faces together in like 2 months,
Months.
2-ish months. But yeah, we are back for the NBA season, and we are talking NBA previews. Now, we usually do every team, but we're a little bit behind schedule this year, so we're going to be doing it by division. So every division, Ricky said he's going to put timestamps in the video, so if you just want to go and skip to your team or whatever team you want to listen to in the division, you can do that. I don't recommend it because we're swell people. I didn't even mention my co-host yet. I am here today with my co-host Dave Oster. How we doing, Dave?
Basketball's back. Feels great. Preseason champs. What up?
Yeah, we'll get into that in the next division video. We're not going to get into that now. But before we do start, we are doing the Southeast Division. And before we do get into that, if you want to check out the links down below, our Patreon, you can get access to videos all throughout the year, especially draft content, which will be starting in the next month or so for the next draft cycle from Dave and I. That'll go on the Patreon a week earlier than you'll see it on YouTube. You can also become a channel member down below and get those same perks. And then also down below our Discord, if you want to join the greatest community in the world. We've been talking the entire offseason on Discord. It never really stopped, so we kept going the entire time. And certain fans are taking very kindly to preseason basketball and not realizing that's preseason basketball, but we'll get there. But yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping. I would fly right through it. The first team that we're going to talk about, Dave, I think it's meant to be the first team that we're going to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets, our beloved team that we fell in love with last year. We were spending time in Discord watching the Sixers and Hornets play, and we were just both like, I just love this team. Like, they might be losing by 20, but I just love this team.
Yeah, turns out by giving them the best player in the draft class, they're a very fun team to watch. LaMelo Ball is an absolute game changer out there, and watching him unlock Miles Bridges was unreal because it literally was like a light switch went off, and it was just like, we have a hyper athletic wing who can fly. Let's just throw him oops over and over, backdoor cuts. Like, that team had so much going for them. And prior to the injuries, with healthy Gordon Hayward, healthy LaMelo Ball, this was a team that was fighting right in the thick of it for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, and we'll go in their additions and their subtracting the offseason. First, we'll go with what they lost in the offseason. They did sign and trade Devontae Graham to the New Orleans Pelicans. Free agents Cody Zeller and Malik Monk went to the Trailblazers and the LA Lakers, the moist one. Always been looking good in the preseason. We'll talk about that in the Lakers when we get there. But then in the draft with the 11th pick, they added James Bouknight. The 19th pick, they added Kai Jones. The 37th pick, they added JT Thor. And the 56th pick, 56th pick, they added Scotty Lewis. In trades, they acquired Mason Plumley and Wes Iwundu. I always forget how to say it.
Wes Iwundu, yeah.
Iwundu. And in free agency, they added Ish Smith and Kelly Ubrey Jr. So, this team overall, I think we should start with expectations for every team and where they should be aiming for. I'll start real quick. They were in the playoff hunt last year. They were in, obviously, and Gordon Hayward getting hurt killed their chances massively. The numbers with him on and off the court is surprisingly different. I don't have the exact.
Really? Is it surprising? Because like people are just sleeping on Gordon Hayward being good because he's just injured every year. That's the problem. It's like the curse of Gordon Hayward. You know he's a very good basketball player. At the same time, you can't count on him to be healthy to help you win games for an entire year. So it is that balance. Like, it's not a bad contract if he plays. You know, he's a incredible wing out there who's just got a massive basketball IQ. And I think everything fingers crossed, if everybody's back, this team is legitimately right back in the hunt. Like, I'm talking 6 through 10. It feels pretty safe to say, to have that confidence level about them. Like, they're still incredibly young. I'm going to really enjoy watching LaMelo with that starting unit more. And the fact that they went aggressive in the draft and went after Bouknight, they got themselves, again, there seems to be a theme here, this athleticism and buckets. I think Bouknight will play really well off the bench, and I'm really excited to see. I know that I'm a bigger fan of a guy that got later in the draft in JT Thor, but he will probably be a long time of development before we see him really impact the NBA game. But they just have offensive highlight reels left and right, and they're a top 5 team for that respect of just highlight reels. Not top 5 team, the plays you will see in top 10 lists.
They are a top 5 league pass team. That is.
Oh yes.
That is the That is one of the things you'll probably hear us say a couple of times as we go on with this. This team is a league pass team. Like they'll be competing. I think the expectation wise is they'll be looking to get in the play-in once again, just like they did last year. I think one addition that kind of went under the radar for them is Mason Plumley. Plum Guy Millionaire. First of all, we figured out he's a rapper. We didn't know that a couple of days ago. Yeah. He's a rapper. But second off, center position was a big struggle for them last year. Bismack Biyombo getting consistent minutes, and was it Zeller? I can't even. Was it
Zeller?
And Zeller. Though that center rotation just horrid. Getting somebody like Mason Plumley, who's like he's not spectacular, but he's a center who's going to get your rebounds. He can facilitate as a big, and he doesn't turn the ball over a lot, which is really all you need with this team because you're going to get unlimited offense. Like I know James Bouknight, I might have had him a little bit lower than most people. I still had him as a lottery talent, but my point was all he does is get buckets. He doesn't. I don't think his game beyond that as much, but he can score the basketball, and that's all he's going to have to do on this team. PJ Washington hopefully having a healthy year. I know he got chipped by a woman and his kid, but off the court, not very good. # on the court, PJ Washington still a very good small ball 5. So if we're rotating Mason Plumley and PJ Washington at the 5 position, I think you have a pretty solid team. And then Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball taking another jump, and then Ish Smith. Ish Smith is such a solid backup guard that him and LaMelo being able to learn from him, the speed on this team is just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, they're going to be an up-tempo team. LaMelo always looks for those breakout passes. He's quick to turn and fire as soon as he gets a rebound. So I'm going to be excited to watch them play an extremely fast and exciting style of basketball. The big thing for me on this team, like you said, it's how much of a step can some of these younger guys take. PJ, you mentioned he's had injury issues in the past, and I think that he's someone who we thought was going to be kind of like last year should have been his breakout year. So this is almost a make it or break it year for him because there were already rumors of his name being on the trade block, which I don't know how to feel about that because I think that he's still got a lot of potential. He came in as a pretty good player already, just a floor spacing guy who can absolutely grab boards for you. The bench unit, though, like you said, adding Ish Smith to basically replace Devontae Graham, I think playmaking upgrade. You get someone who can control the style of an offense a little bit better, and that whole bench unit as a whole is going to be just a ton of fun to watch because you go Ish, Bouknight, Ubrey, and then you kind of have the toss-up of whichever athletic wing they want to throw in there, and then obviously your backup center. I expect Vernon Carey to get some minutes. Yeah. I'm still high on a certain McDaniels because I love the McDanielses. I think they're both studs. So I'm hoping he'll get some more minutes and prove himself this year. But like, they have a really good bench unit, and I think it's just a really fun team. They're going to lose some games that they obviously lost because of they're going to play too fast and they're going to have a lot of turnovers. That's the expectation. Yeah. That's a little mellow ball situation, but also like just a youth movement situation. This is such a young team. Ish and Mason are the two old men on this roster. Outside of that, I don't think anybody's played more than like 4 years in the league. So yeah, I'm sorry, Gordon Hayward as well. But like, it's going to be exciting. They're going to be fun. I don't have like top of the East expectations for them, but like Jake said, this is a league pass team. This is if you got a night where you see a game on, you're like, all right, yeah. And by the way, the entire time we have not mentioned this guy's name, Terry Rozier.
I was about to say that they just signed him to a massive
underrated
contract extension.
Yeah,
underrated. He's now paid. Probably right. I want to say to the point that the only players with over 4 years, so Nwundu is 4 years. The only other guys with over 4 years of experience are Terry Rozier with 6, Ish Smith with 11 years. That's crazy. Mason Plumlee with 8 years, Ubrey with 6, and then Gordon Hayward with 11. So it's still a massively young team. Yeah. But they have the veterans that they're supposed to have. Like, you need these veterans to be able to mold your big men. And an interesting thing will be the dynamic that I want to see between PJ Washington and Kai Jones is can they coexist on the court together? Because that's going to be a backup front court that you're probably going to see come in. I talked about PJ Washington being a small ball 5. We talked about Kai Jones playing the 5 in the NBA. We talked about him maybe being able to stretch the floor to 4. PJ Washington can stretch the floor and play the 4. So could those two work together? Would be if Kai Jones can come in and give them some type of 10 to 15 minute production per game this year at the 5/4, that's massive for this team. The bench unit, even without him, is still going to be pretty good. Like, he'll play obviously, but if he can get his game to a plus level early on, this team is really, really going to be interesting in that back end of the East playoff picture.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the fact that this is a personal preference, but style-wise, the fact that they can go small with such a good wing-heavy lineup is so attractive to me because if you throw out a lineup like LaMelo Ball, Rozier, and then you can go Ubrey, Hayward, Bridges, like That is a fucking phenomenal lineup.
Yeah.
And I think that they can really take advantage of going small, playing with pace. And I think that's the key to success for this team going forward. I mean, they're going to do a lot of interesting things. And I love the young guys on this team. I love Thor. I love McDaniels. I think Book Knight's going to be a stud, but there's just a lot. Kai Jones is someone I have very low expectations for year one. Yeah. It's the, like, I don't know if it's just like a Texas Center thing now. Like, we've watched for 2 years. The Pelicans have had why am I blanking on his name? The Pelicans center drafted Jackson Hayes. Yeah, hyper athletic center out of Texas, and it's like longer learning curve than we'd like for these kids. So I'm low expectations there, but all in all, just incredibly exciting team.
Yeah, so we'll do this with every team. It just came to my mind. One player to watch that you think could have a bigger impact than people think, and then one player you think that is going to have a down year compared to what most people think. So one player you're high on the team and one player you're low on the team.
I mean, it's definitely just going to be LaMelo Ball taking another step in my mind. Like, that's I think that he's going to have a massive leap forward without having Devontae Graham in front of him. Yeah. He's just going to get more minutes. He's going to get better. He's only going to get better from here, and I'm so excited for that. Down step, I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting. Kelly Ubrey, I don't love him. I just genuinely don't like Kelly Ubrey. I get why people are like, he's an athletic wing who can play good defense and knock down some shots for us. I don't like him. He's a guy who's going to eat minutes, and I just don't care for.
My one player to watch is Kelly Ubrey because I think he can benefit from a team that can play in the lineup versatility that you mentioned, and being able to throw out 3 wings. His shooting needs to become consistent. That is the big point. If his shooting become consistent, he can become a consistently productive player. It's just very hit or miss. Honestly, in this team, there aren't many people that I'm low on in total, but I think I would have to target PJ Washington. I do really love his game. His injuries just consistently every single year. It just kind of scares me with the production. I do agree with you on the Kai Jones thing. Again, that's why I said if he can give you even a little bit of production, it is a massive boost. But with that, we'll move into the next team in this division. It is going to be probably the team that we almost top 3 offseason at least, the Miami Heat. Big year for the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero's 3rd year, obviously. Jimmy Butler getting that massive extension, paying him all the way through the age of 38, I believe. And then obviously, the big free agent signs that they made. We'll go with who they lost first. In the trade, obviously, they traded Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa, who are now members of the Toronto Raptors. In free agency,
for the moment.
What?
For the moment.
For the moment. Yeah, you're right. Free agents, they lost Trevor Ariza of the LA Lakers, Nemanja Bjelica to the Golden State Warriors, Andre Iguodala to the Warriors, and Kendrick Nunn to the Los Angeles Lakers. They did not have a draft pick, or they did not make a draft pick. And then in free agency, they signed Jimmy Butler to that extension. Duncan Robinson re-signed, Markieff Morris, PJ Tucker, Victor Oladipo, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and Dwayne Dedman. And then obviously in the sign and trade, they got Kyle Big Booty Lowry. Expectations, Dave, I think we are on the same page. This is a top 3 team in the East. That has to be the expectation.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean, this is Kyle Lowry unlocks his team, and it's disgusting what he's going to do for them.
Yep.
He's just he's one of the top tier floor generals in the NBA. Incredibly smart, has great personality, like infectious fun as a leader, and I think that's going to be perfect to balance out because Jimmy Butler's so passionate, so on at all times.
Yep.
And like I can see how that wears thin with some people, but having Kyle, and they already have a best friends mentality, like this is perfect locker room. This is literally like on paper, I love this fit. And I think on the court, the sky's the limit because literally with their young core of having Bam, Duncan, not really that young, I get it, Tyler Hero together, like those 3 guys all have opportunities to take big steps up this season. And then literally, Victor Oladipo, if you get anything out of this man, anything, it's a bonus. Without Victor Oladipo, which is how I'm going to predict their season,
agreed.
Like this is still a top 3 team potentially in the East because they've got a top tier defense.
Yep.
Flat out, like one of, I think they'll finish top 5 defensively because they have plus defenders at almost every position. It's just, they have everything figured out outside of the one thing that became their Achilles heel last year, well, outside of health. That was, Jesus, that was the Achilles heel of this team last year. But rebounding is the big question. And they went ahead and they I know everybody praised them for the summer league contract being flipped over for Omer Yurtsvin, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many minutes he'll legitimately play
I
because
don't
they
think
got
he'll see
Deadman.
any. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Deadman's your backup center. Keefe can slide over because he's slow as fuck. But like, I don't know if they've got the right guys to address that problem. The big, I just, I think there's matchups that don't favor them because of that. I think there's a couple teams in the East who could take advantage of that, where it's just they don't have an answer, but their answer is to play different. You know, they've got incredible toughness and incredible rebounding for wings and guards. But if they go up against a legit big in the East, Jake, I know you know a guy. That could be a problem.
Do I?
It could be a problem.
I know two actually. You know, because Andre Drummond just elite center. Yeah, Pat Riley does what Pat Riley does. Really, is he keeps his star talent, gets a guy like Kyle Lowry who knows, like you said, can unlock the team, and then they fill out the team with a bunch of veterans. I mean, getting a guy like PJ Tucker is huge. Now, PJ Tucker, he may be the player I'm down on this team because I'm just questionable on his actual impact he'll have on this team, where he'll play and all. I'm interested to see that. Duncan Robinson obviously getting a massive extension. I think I haven't really talked about it as much in the show as I have in the Discord. Again, down below if you want to join it. I think contract numbers are thrown around too much, like they really matter. They really don't. In all like essence, like they paid Duncan Robinson the money, but it doesn't really matter because they use his bird rights to go over the cap to sign him. So who cares how much money they paid him? And if they want to make a trade, they could use Duncan Robinson as the salary filler now because of how much money he's making. I think people get lost too much in contract numbers and whatever. I care about their fit on the team. And Duncan Robinson, this team is way better with him than they are without him. It's plain and simple. I think the guy to mention, the X factor on this team, is Tyler Hero. It is his third year. It is here. He's looked amazing in the first two
preseason games,
summer league preseason games.
He's taken over that big role. I mean, it's everything they hoped he would be coming out of the bubble that he stumbled out the gates with in his year two. And I think that the expectations got to him. He was a young kid and he had a lot going on. # off the court. And I think that the big thing to keep in mind is just how much he's grown as a ball handler, as a guy on the team who now has a clearly defined role, because you do have Kyle Lowry in there as your true point guard. You're not dealing with is Goran our point guard? Am I the point guard? Is Kendrick Nunn the point guard? Who's handling ball responsibilities during the night? And I think that was something that didn't help a young player who really didn't know his role well enough last year and was kind of asked to do a lot. So now walking bucket mode engaged, and he is just hitting everything. The confidence is back. It's like that's saying it's the bubble confidence, it's the college confidence, it's everything you want to see out of Tyler Hero. I think that he is super exciting and going to be massive for this team. I wonder how they're going to work their lineups, because again, this is a team where it's just all wings. Like it just feels like everybody's just a tweener.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but like there could be some bad lineups out there, to be honest with you.
I think their bench is going to be the one thing that can hold this team back is their bench. I think it's going to be somewhat questionable because what exactly do you think the starting lineup is? Do you go Butler? Do you bring Hero off? You can't bring Hero off the bench. You bring Duncan Robinson off the bench. Do you start those two with Lowry, Butler, and Bam? Do you go somewhat small ball because Jimmy slides to the 4 in that situation, I assume? Or do you go big and leave Lowry, one of Hero or Duncan, Jimmy, Tucker, Bam? Do you go with that lineup? So it's like
I think I'm stapling Duncan to Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
I want those two guys together at all times because I don't think anyone can generate wide open like Duncan can, and Lowry's going to be the guy who can find him for those. Like Kyle Lowry will engage the defense. He will pull just gravity around him driving to the basket from that massive ass of his. And Duncan Robinson will just get unlocked shots all the time. Yeah. So I think that's the pairing you look to see, Kyle and Duncan together, and then Tyler Hero likely being the leader of that second unit, someone who'll be maybe a first guy off the bench kind of a situation where he can come in. But like the point is he can get his own.
Yeah.
And anything else in that second unit, like we've seen Max and Gabe as just knockdown shooters. So you have to figure, they're going to just be a couple minutes here and there when Duncan needs a rest. They're guys who can run around on the court, knock down open shots, and can help space the floor. But really, it's just they're going to be kind of struggling in my mind for that bench unit because, like you said, it's just a little bit of a toss-up after you get through that starting line, even with the starting lineup. But like, I think that bench unit's just kind of like,
Yeah,
these guys might have to play heavy minutes.
That's where Oladipo coming back is a big thing because if Oladipo can come back, Tyler Hero and Oladipo off the bench, then you turn.
It's a different world.
Then you turn into something. So Dave, not a lot to talk about with the Heat because they're just gonna be good. We just know they're just gonna be good.
Udonis has them back, right?
Like, thank you for reminding me. I hate that they're wasting another roster spot on him. Just have him retire, hire him as a coach. What is the point of having? Is he gonna come in and get 2 texts and get tossed like last year?
Yes, that was great.
Is that his point? But yeah,
he's a locker room mentor.
Yeah, so
I agree with you. He should be a coach. Yeah. There's no reason to like, unless there's like something where he's like, I want to be, because this is year 20 for him or 21.
19.
Oh, it's only 19. So maybe he's trying to go for 20 or something. Like, I don't know. I have no idea why he is. Yeah, I agree. That's a weird one.
So Dave, one player to watch. I mean, I think we're both gonna have Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
One player you're down on with this team. Mine's PJ Tucker. I don't know who you will be on this team. I think that PJ Tucker might take a little bit of a. I think people. I don't like using the line that I want to use, but like he did not look amazing last year when he got traded. So
no, he's not the PJ Tucker of 2018 Rockets. He's not the guy who. Him and Rocco made the entire league look like jokes out there because their defense is so incredible. Like he is aged. He's still smart. He's still got great, wingspan, and like his body's solid. But like he's a step slower. Yeah. He's a step slower. I don't know if he's gonna be able to keep up. But if they're gonna use him as a power forward center, like matchup wise, sure, you could probably protect him pretty well. I'm in the same boat though. I think that like Markieff Morris, like. I don't know how much of an addition he really is going to be. I think they're going to count on him a lot, and I don't know if that's going to burn them at some point.
Moving into the next team, we're going to move into, Dave, you see it on Dave's jersey there, the Orlando Magic. Dave and I, maybe our love story NBA team this year, getting into their subtractions. All they lost was Otto Porter, or the corpse of Otto Porter, to the Golden State Warriors. The additions in free agency. Robin Lopez, big, what a center.
That's massive, actually.
And then in the draft at number 4, they got Jalen Suggs, and at number 8, they took Franz Wagner from Michigan. So Dave and I might do a little bit of drooling over this roster because we do very much like this roster. Big things with this team, obviously, health. Health is everything with this team. Fultz on his way back, Isaac on his way back, but neither playing yet.
Asterisk the Isaac situation.
Yeah, because
we just get that out of the way and just be like, don't know why you're not vaccinated.
Hashtag on the court. Hashtag on the court. Off the court,
I hope he plays all the games that he can.
Off the court, we don't agree with most of his choices. On the court, though, holy hell, what a player! What a player!
Defensive Player of the Year contender this year.
Yeah, I would agree. This team is very interesting to me because we'll go in with the young talent they obviously have first. Yeah. They have both Wagner brothers, don't they?
They do.
So they have both Wagner brothers, and obviously they still have Terrence Ross, what do we call
shockingly him? Almost at this point.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about him at the trade deadline for like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, and he just never has gotten traded. The big elephant in the room is that Jalen Suggs fell to 4, and they got Jalen Suggs at 4. I mean, not they took, you know what I meant. They got Jalen Suggs at 4. That he didn't go 3rd.
Scotty Barnes went above him, and. The Raptors made a move that we will forever look at. Yeah. And I mean, Scotty Barnes looked excellent. Like he is a do-it-all Florida State kid. It's exactly what Florida State does, apparently.
Yeah.
But Suggs is exactly what this team was hoping for. Like this was a win-win situation in the draft for them. I think where they were. So I think that it's gonna be interesting to see how they sort out their backcourt this year.
Yes.
Because obviously with Fultz coming off of an injury. The way he started off last season so hot, will he be able to pick up that momentum? His shot has continued to be worked on. Hopefully, is better. He's an awesome story for hopefully like a comeback player of the year situation because, I mean, for his whole career has just been something out of a book. Like
basically,
it's just
worst
bizarre.
case scenario if you brought it in. This is his career. This is
you could coin flip every time that he just lose.
Yeah,
it like 7 in a row.
Those doubles. What was it the Riddler who used to
Two-Face?
Doubles, yeah, Two-Face with a double-sided coin, and it's always just bad. That's Markelle Fultz's career.
Yeah, but I love Fultz. I'm a big Fultz guy. Jake, I know you're a Philly guy. Is there any love still in your heart for Markelle Fultz?
Hey, it's just clear the point guard that we should have kept got away, That's what I mean. He's in Orlando right now. Just it is what it is. I still like Fultz's game a lot. I wasn't like, again, Philly fans get a rep. We created a skull chant for this guy. So when he made a free throw, so like. I still think he's an incredible player. It's just his shot. He'll never be what he was supposed to be, but he still can be such a productive player. And especially probably coming off the bench in this team, because I think the starting backcourt for this team is going to be Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony. I think that's what they.
I hope not.
I somewhat like it, but I need to see it in an actual like 15 to 20 game stretch for me to actually be able to break it down. But I think this team, I know we want to put them in the playoffs, like the play-in so bad. Why I think they're probably 1 year away is the tinkering that has to go on with this roster. You have to think they have so much young, kind of like, not all talent, but young players.
It's young, undeveloped potential. That's the problem right now. They're so unproven.
But they need
like Wendell Carter they got last season. What is he? Yeah. Still don't know. They're big, drafted right around the same time as Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba. What the fuck is he?
Yeah.
Still don't know. This is a make it or break it year for both of those guys. And we don't know their starting center situation. Like Robin Lopez is the best center they have right now.
Hey, respect Chuma in the small ball 6'6".
I fucking love Chuma, and you know that.
I do want to say, come on, they don't have any big man talent. Ignas Bristicus is on a 2-way contract for them, Dave. Come on, respect it. Respect Bristicus. But no,
another preseason god from a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Summer League too.
I'll be interested to see what their lineup is opening night. I'm not opening night when we get like 20, 25 games in if they're fully healthy.
Yeah, because when they settle in and
because what I think here's a big brain. Suggs, Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, and Wendell. That probably, and then Chuma, Robin Lopez, Markelle Fultz, and RJ Hampton off the bench, and then Gary Harris somewhere thrown in there because I don't really know where he fits on this team, but he's on the roster. So, and then Michael Carter Williams is back on this roster, and I know that like Michael Carter Williams gets and T. Ross, good lord, and Etwan Moore. Like there's so and Mo Bamba. Like there's so many players on this team. They need to figure out who they want to keep and who they don't.
Yeah.
Another Michael Carter Williams is a guy who gets a lot of rep because obviously after his debut we thought he was the greatest thing of all time.
Day one peak. I've never seen it happen before. I don't know if we'll ever see it again.
Well, year one peak Tyreek Evans. We saw that too. So we've seen it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. He had a year one. But I mean, like literally he came in the league and dad dicked the big three.
21, 11, 9, and 9 or something like that. He had like 9 steals, something like whatever it was. We thought we had the GOAT, but I think he is a very good role player in the league. I know he gets a lot of crap for not being what he was supposed to because high draft pick, great winning rookie of the year, and then the greatest GM in NBA history, Sam Hinkie, knew what he was doing to trade him for a Lakers first round pick. I digress. This roster is a lot of question marks. Terrence Ross, we keep thinking that he's going to be off the roster, and then he's still on this team. The veterans,
he's still valuable, which is weird. Like Gary Harris, I get they ate that contract basically as part of the deal to get RJ Hampton on his team.
Pick basically for taking Gary Harris. That's kind of why,
Yeah, I get that one, and maybe they'll look to flip Gary if he returns to any sort of shooting semblance of himself. Like Gary was, again, he was a really good 2-way player before his injuries.
I feel like he's a buyout candidate this year. I think at the deadline we might get there.
Is he on his final year?
I believe so. I'll check, but I believe so.
But yeah, I just feel like it's weird and almost wasteful that they haven't moved.
He's on his final year.
He is, okay. Yeah. So he's getting traded. Gary Harris will get moved during this year.
He's either getting traded or getting bought out after he doesn't get traded because nobody wants him. It's one of the two. Or is he a contract filler in a certain trade for a point guard who's trying to get moved from the northeastern region of the United States? Just saying.
I'm just saying that T. Ross is a great teammate and seems to be a great Magic, but it's just weird that they haven't flipped him for value at this point.
Yeah,
especially with such a young roster. But yeah, you're right. They have so many bodies to throw at only so many roster slots right now, and that is the big thing. So can we talk positional battles? You talked about that starting backcourt could be Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony. I pure straight hate Cole Anthony. For whatever reason it is. I don't like the fact that he's
one of those guys for you.
He's 5'11", bow-legged, and hasn't seen a bad shot in his life. That doesn't inspire confidence. He's made some phenomenal game-winner buckets last year that I get on my C4. I'm going wild. I don't love his game, but when it pays off so good. And I just you fall in love with the game and him again. But I just don't think that he's a 6-man. His ceiling is 6-man, and I think he's very good at it. But I just see him in that mold of the bench scorer, a la Jordan Clarkson, Goran Dragic. He's in the same vein as those kind of roles, and I think that he's very good at it already, and I think he'll keep getting better. But for me, I want to go with a bigger backcourt. I think Fultz Suggs is the future of this team. I think RJ, it's going to be weird to see because they said he grew another inch or two.
He's like 6'6"
so we're gonna
now,
have to see.
6'7", I think.
Yeah, he's claiming he's 6'6", which is awesome if he is because he can slide down then, and you can play him 1, 2, or 3. He likes the ball handle. We saw some really great production out of him in the last 10 games of the season. He's putting up fantastic numbers. They're giving the kids runtime, which is exactly what that team needed to do. I think the future is having, it's Fultz, Suggs, and then that bench unit of Cole, RJ, probably as they move away from T. Ross. Until they do, hey, if you can flex RJ to the 3, awesome. That gives them an extra spot to open up. I don't like the 3-guard lineups with this team, though, because they have so many guys at the wing already. I mean, I would love Chumo KK is just sorry. No, let's finish up guards. Let's finish up guards.
I was gonna say I would love to see a lineup of just to run, not to start, just to run out at certain points in the game.
Yeah.
A Suggs, Fultz, RJ, Franz, and Jonathan Isaac lineup. Just go complete young talent. That would be so they're listen. I just want entertainment value from this team. I wouldn't label them as a league pass team, but they're gonna be fun from time to time to watch, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they build this offense. Why can't I blanking on their new coach's name? I have it over Jamal Mosley. That's who it is.
Yep.
I'll be interested to see what kind of offense he's going to build around this team because I assume it's from the ground up and maybe.
I mean, he came from Denver, so you got to think about I'm sorry, not Denver.
Dallas.
Was it Dallas?
I believe so.
Okay, Dallas. Yeah. No, you're right.
Okay, I was going to say.
I feel like Dallas is the right answer.
He was in Denver, and then he was in Cleveland.
That was a long time ago.
In Dallas. Yeah, it was 2006 to 2009.
Jeez.
George Karl.
No, so Dallas. So okay, he was working with a bigger guard in Luka Doncic.
Doncic.
I love his name. What can I say? It'll be interesting to see Carlisle plus him. I'm not sure who is going to get credit for what, but I agree. This is going to be a new offensive system. Defensively, this team has insane potential. Suggs already is a two-way god. Fultz is known for his defense because his offense has been lackluster outside the fact he's smooth as fucking butter out there.
True.
But then at the wing, Jonathan Isaac can defend anything 1 through 5 if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Chumo KK can guard 2 through 5. I don't say 1 because there are some guys who are just smaller and faster who can get under. But Chuma is legit. He was too good to play while they were tanking at the end of the year when they're just giving minutes away. Yeah. I was like, this kid is special.
I think Jonathan Isaac is one of 2 people in the NBA that I think can legitimately three people who can legitimately guard perimeter to paint 1 through 5.
Yeah, there's not many.
It's him, Ben, and AD probably. That's the 3 names that come to my mind right away. I'm sure I'm forgetting. I'm not there yet with him. Not there yet with him.
Giannis,
yes, Giannis, so 4. There are names that pop up, but there's think of the names that we just mentioned. Obviously Ben, I know Ben, whatever.
No, I mean that's defensive player of the year shit. That's all 4 of those guys are going to be in the running for it, and they all deserve it.
Well, no, one's not going to show up and play, so one can't.
Well, there's that. The other one may not show up to play either. We'll see. But yes, the praise on the wings should be known. This is a team who has awesome defensive wings, and honestly, Franz has looked awful to start the season in the preseason. But I still have no reason to doubt him. It's a situation where I think that Franz will be someone who will come along in time. He's got a good game. It's basic. It's his fundamentals are solid. So his game will translate over. It's just a matter of finding his comfort zone and finding his exact role on this team. And then, off the bench, being able to bring in Michael Carter-Williams, as a defensive specialist out there, that's big. Yeah. But again, how many minutes do you want to give guys when you need to give minutes to these younger wings?
Yeah, that's fair. So Dave, I came up with a new thing for it. 1 player stock to buy before the season and 1 player stock to sell before the season. Look at me with all.
I mean, Chuma. I fucking love Chuma. He's my guy. I love Markelle, but I love Chuma more.
Okay.
That's actually, I don't know if I say it out loud.
Yeah, that's close.
It's close.
Who would you sell?
I mean, their center situation is a problem.
So Wendell Carter would be your sell, even though I don't think he has much stock. I was gonna say.
I think Mo Bamba's gonna shine out, and I think Wendell Carter might be pushed aside. I'll be honest. I think Wendell Carter is a good backup center in the league, but that's seemingly where he seems to top out at. He can't fight against legit centers in the NBA for any sort of presence in the low post. He's soft.
Yeah.
So I think that they would be more likely to go with a Mo Bamba floor spacer than have the intangibles of Wendell Carter on the floor. I think that Wendell will probably lose his starting job to Mo by the time the year's over.
I was also going to say sell Wendell, so that we're equal there. My buy, though, is Franz Wagner. I think his name doesn't get thrown up a lot when we talk today about the Magic, but, his potential is higher than, I think we're in agreement. I think we talked about this during the draft process. I think
we're both pretty high on him.
A lot of people were like, yeah, his potential is plug in 3-and-D wing, and I think he can do more than that. I think he can create on the perimeter, and he's able to stick with offensive players defensively. So
and supposedly got taller too.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if that helps or hurts his game though at that point, because he was already like a big wing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, are you forcing yourself to be like a 4? And,
are we going to see a 4-5 of Wagner and Isaac?
Wagner?
I would love to see Wagner and Wagner. I would love to see Isaac, if Wendell does get pushed out of the lineup, if you see a little bit of Isaac playing the small ball 5 at times.
Is their best lineup Isaac at the 5? I would probably say there's a chance,
with Chuma at the 4, Franz at the 2, Suggs and Fultz.
But, oh my God, could you imagine trying to score on that lineup?
No.
I mean, they also wouldn't score, but it'd be like a battle attrition.
Franz would just make a buzzer beater 3 at the shot clock every time because they can't create anything.
It would be again. One of the youngest teams in the NBA this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely gonna love watching their games, but it's a developmental thing. Like, if everything clicked, this team could be, a 10 seed. I think everything clicks, everyone's healthy. Isaac gets a shot, can play all the games. Yes, but realistically, I think this is 10 seeds a little too high.
I probably agree. I think they're right on the outside looking in this year, and next year is the year they make the playoff push. Yeah. With that, we're going to move into the next team on this division. Is going to be the Atlanta Hawks, the Eastern Conference Finals Atlanta Hawks. Players that they lost.
Show out.
What?
You got to show out for that. I mean, come on. Jake, who'd they beat in the Eastern Conference semis?
They beat Ben Simmons. So the players and Doc Rivers, I can't even talk about that man right now. The players that they lost in the offseason, Chris Dunn to the Boston Celtics, and Bruno Fernando, can't believe he's still in the league, to the Boston Celtics.
Or as Ricky would say, Bruno Fernandez.
Oh, there was a trade, actually, sorry. And in free agency, they lost Tony Snell to the Portland Trail Blazers. Big 50-50-50 miss right there. I mean,
low key.
Couldn't play in the playoffs.
Defensive wing.
He couldn't play in the playoffs though. He was horrible.
No, he couldn't.
In the draft, they added Jalen Johnson with the 20th overall pick and Sharif Cooper with the 48th overall pick. I don't know why I look blue right now.
Best value of the draft.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson.
None.
I agree. Free agency. They re-signed Solomon Hill. They signed Gorgie Dieng. Trae Young did an extension. John Collins re-signed. Lou Williams re-signed. Why'd they list Gorgie Dieng twice in this? I don't know. And DeLon Wright in a trade. I think the clear place to start with this team is in the draft with them. They drafted one of my guys and one of your guys. So Jalen Johnson was I think 7 or 8 on my board, and they got him at the 20th overall pick. And then Sharif Cooper was 6th on your board.
I mean, 5 or 6.
Might have been 5 or 6, and they got him 48th in the draft. Most likely, Sharif will definitely be in the G League this year. Jalen Johnson might bounce between. I'm not sure yet. We'll see in the first couple of weeks how his role develops, and if he's not playing a lot, he might end up going down. First of all,
and that's not a bad thing.
No.
This is about depth. This team has so much goddamn NBA talent on it.
Yeah, Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
No, I think is he still on the team? Yeah.
I don't know.
I just saw his name on Basketball Reference.
I think he was signed because Okongwu is going to be out for the start of the season.
I still wouldn't have signed him, but yeah, that's fair. But yeah, this team's not going to have Onyeka for the first 3 months. I think it's December or January he's going to come back.
Something like that, yeah.
That's a big loss for them. But again, it doesn't really matter because of how deep this team is. And the reason they won in the second round last year against Sixers was their depth won out. Danilo Gallinari and Kevin Huerter outplayed Ben soft-minded Simmons in the playoffs. It's a hell of a roster. DeAndre Hunter didn't even play in the playoffs past the first round because he was.
He had 20 games, about 20 games that made him look like the next 3-and-D. This kid has sky as the future potential.
Yeah.
Mini Paul George, in 20 games. So that's the biggest part for me is can he live up to those expectations that we saw in such a small sample size and grow from there? Because What?
I look blue. I don't know why.
You do. I don't know if it's your computer screen or...
No, my computer screen is literally us and then black. So I don't know what it is. Whatever.
No
I
idea.
look blue. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But no, like DeAndre Hunter, yeah, it's just, is he that guy, or was it a 20-game stretch where he outplayed expectations?
That guy.
I mean, look, we'll see. We'll see. Cam Reddish, another guy who came in late in the playoffs because of health and just had a performance that was just like, awesome. Yeah. Preseason so far, he seems to have gotten the green light to take shots. Not really, the hottest start, but he's still a I couldn't decide between phenomenal or fantastic defender. Like, he gets at the ball, he's aggressive on the defensive end. He goes for strips, he plays the lanes. Like, yep. I think that he's still a bit of a wild card out there. So, like, they have two up and coming wings who look legit, and then
they add Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, so they're just going for all the process legends. Julio Ford, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, and they're just adding everybody. And then the big story for them in the offseason was obviously what's going to happen with John Collins. We have very passionate, use the word passionate in our Discord, Hawks fan who, we talked about like a year ago that Trae Young and John Collins didn't really get along because of Lloyd Pierce's offense and how he wasn't using both of them correctly. They fire their coach. They have the best record in the NBA from that point on, I think. And
Nate McMillan, good coach.
Good coach. Yeah, good coach.
Yeah, some would say that, he took them on a run that was, an all-time run, pretty much.
CK, and this is like why recency bias takes very strong holds of people's opinions sometimes.
Definitely.
I'm still not I thought he always was a good coach. His playoff struggles were adamant for most of his career, and I'm not willing to write off 1 year as that they're just completely gone. He faced another coach in the second round whose playoff struggles are loud and clear. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to be like, yeah, Nate McMillan, elite coach, because I've seen some people say that because they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think he's a very good coach, and they were right to bring him back. I just don't know if I'm ready to put the elite stamp on him yet.
Lloyd Pierce, offense and defensive personnel, rotations, schemes were dreadful. And I think Nate McMillan just knows how to work with the guys in front of him. And the fact that he was gifted with one of the deepest rosters in the NBA, which is playing with house money.
He probably was. It probably is the deepest roster because Golden State was hurt last year. Golden State was the only one I could think of that's like now you got to think about the Lakers, baby. Lakers. Yeah. And last year was definitely the deepest though. I mean
Brooklyn this year, Jesus.
Yeah. We'll get
Run.
I don't know how to talk about them. It's very nice that you can draft projects like Jalen Johnson and Sharif Cooper and be like, we don't need you right now. Go produce, go get better, go improve your game. In a year or two, we'll call your number when we let some guys go, and maybe you'll have to produce. Like, if they lose a Cam Reddish, or they lose a DeAndre Hunter, or they lose a Bogdanovich, or they lose a Gallinari, or they lose, I don't even know. Yeah, everybody on this team, or a Lou Will. Like, this team is so deep. They have, 12 players who could be in most NBA rotations. Just phenomenally run. Expectation-wise, top 5 in the East. That's where my expectation would be. Yeah, about right.
I would say top 5 feels pretty safe at this point. Really, the big question is just how does Onyeka come back from his injury? If catastrophe happens and Clint goes down as well, then I think we're looking at a problem with John Collins playing major minutes at center. But outside of that catastrophe,
Gorgie Dieng, not talked about, very solid backup center. Just saying, for 3 months.
Grumble. I watched him a lot on the Grizzlies. That's why I'm grumbling. And the T-Wolves before that.
I don't think he fit perfectly with the Grizzlies.
He did not.
Yeah, so I think that's a little bit of a...
So I think outside of injury at the center position, literally this team is unstoppable.
And obviously...
Trae Young goes down.
I was going to say, the two things are injury.
I think this team still wins 45 games. If he goes down tomorrow, this team could still win 45 games with DeLon Wright and Lou Will and Reef.
I probably lean
100% in my mind. I think they're 45 wins.
Closer to 40, but yes, I think we're on the same page there.
It's insane. Trae Young's also what he put up last year, 30 and 10 or something, right? Not really, but you get the point.
Basically,
he's one of the best floor generals in the league. He is a guy who demands to be guarded as soon as he steps over half court because he will pull the trigger.
Yep.
His shooting percentages aren't excellent for a reason because he's not afraid of any shot on the floor.
Yep.
I think that just the confidence he plays with on the floor, the whole team feeds off of it, and the ball movement has been great. It looks like a really fun team. They're so deep, so dangerous from every single position. Like they're a pretty bulletproof roster, to be honest with you. They just feel bulletproof. That's why I think fifth is like the worst case scenario, and that's like if literally you're losing like how the Celtics had to deal with injuries last year. Like you're literally losing your best players like one after the other after the other.
All right, so Dave, buy one, sell one. This is a tough one for the sell one because I'm not like the buy one is also very tough because there's so many players.
I want to. The obvious choices here are both their forwards. It's like Hunter and Reddish. Which one do you think's going to make it? Which one do you think's not? I feel like that's.
You know my answer.
I love Cam Reddish because you love Cam Reddish. DeAndre Hunter just played so well. I'll buy DeAndre.
Okay. I was gonna say.
I'll buy DeAndre Hunter.
Okay.
And I'll sell. Oof. I mean, like what? Maybe Gallo gets moved this year. Maybe his shooting numbers comes down and he gets this. If again, like we're talking about a big floor spacer. If he gets slower, does it really hurt them that much? Honestly, not really. But like maybe you could find a good deal halfway through the season because he's on a sizable contract.
Yeah.
That maybe you could ship him with one of these younger guys we're talking about for someone who is a big upgrade to make that big three happen this season.
Talking about Ben Simmons, right? Yeah.
No, because Ben Simmons would be horrible on this team.
I know you want to see Clint Capella and Ben Simmons try to play together.
Good God.
I think the two. If Onyeka was healthy, I'd 100% buy Onyeka because I think he has.
I love
potential.
I say you and I both gushed about Big O in the draft.
But yeah, Cam Reddish is one of my other guys, so for sure I'll buy Cam Reddish. I'll probably sell Lou Will just because I think his role might begin to fade a little bit on this team, especially if Cam Reddish does emerge like we think he might. You might see somebody's going to have to lose minutes in this team eventually.
I mean, and DeLon Wright is going under the radar, and
I love DeLon Wright. He's perfect
fucking pristine backup point guard. Like him and Ish, I think this segment is like the backup point guard grouping. Him and Ish are both money.
I loved him when he was at Utah. You can even tell that he was college, not Utah Jazz. When he was in Utah in college, you can even tell he was a hell of a player. The last team in this division is the Washington Wizards. Obviously a big offseason for them. The players they lost, they traded Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers. Chandler Hutchinson, your boy, San Antonio Spurs, and free agency they lost.
He already got cut. He did.
I know. Alex Len to the Sacramento Kings. Ish Smith to the Hornets, like we talked before. Isaac Bonga got to be the biggest loss of the offseason. Can't lose the bong to Toronto. And Robin Lopez to the Orlando Magic.
That's honestly probably their biggest loss.
Yeah.
Outside of Russell Westbrook.
In free agency, they re-signed Raul Neto. In the draft, they added Corey Kispert with the 15th overall pick and Isaiah Todd with the 31st overall pick. So it's like a dilemma for you because you like one of them and you hate the other one.
I know. Yeah.
And in the trade, obviously, they signed a trade for Spencer Dinwiddie. I almost said Spencer Dinwiddie. Because if you have
Ricky,
there's an inside joke there. Aaron Holiday acquired in a trade, and then Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, KCP. This team expectations playing like
it's not a team is the problem.
Yeah,
they just got players and threw them at the wall. That's what this roster is. They have talent. That's what's very clear. Is Bradley Beal has talent around him this year. The fact that Russell Westbrook could drag a roster kicking and screaming into the playoffs is just credit to him. I mean, he's like, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't good, but he got them there. And that's the whole thing is like, he just sheer willed them there. This year, it's more about finesse. This year, with Spence coming back, full recovery time, and then a couple months, really high hopes to see Spencer and Bradley together as an interesting backcourt duo. Spencer notoriously is better ball in hand, so we'll see Bradley Beal off ball for the first time. Well, I guess last year Russell, but like it felt like they were sharing a lot more than they should have.
I agree.
But yeah, like Spencer, we'll see where he ends up role wise. They just have a billion wings who are all about the same size. Obviously, the weird thing right now, I don't know if there's been any more details, but Rui is away from the team at this time. I don't know if there's something in his family, if anyone passed or something, but he's been away from the team for a little bit. He'll continue to be away from the team. There's no ETA return time, so I hope, T's and P's to him and his family, whatever they're going through right now. But like, it's just a weird roster as a whole because there's just overlap everywhere. And one of my favorite players offensively on this team is coming back again this year in Thomas Bryant, who was just an offensive fucking machine. He dropping threes and attacking the paint. But they discovered this little known player in Daniel Gaff Daddy Gafford, who is a fucking bucket as far as oops. Like, he can't shoot. He can rebound and he can be a lob threat. And that's it. That's his whole game. That is all he does. He fouls like crazy, but you love him for it. But they went ahead and they got Montrezl Harrell out of the deal. What's his role? Like, Former sixth man of the year, Montrezl Harrell. Like, they just have so many guys who play the same goddamn role.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, are they going to Hunger Games it out? Like, whoever's the last man standing by the end of the year keeps the spot. You know,
I just
it's not good.
And then they bring in Jay Huff too, which I think he actually could be a decent stretch five. Like, but he won't see playing time on this team. He just won't if he makes the roster. Like,
he's a G leaguer.
Isaiah Todd will be in the G League probably too, I assume, because
they
just have too many.
Because
people.
Again, you have assuming Rui will be back, you've got Rui, you've got Denny, who missed a chunk of last year being hurt, Kyle Kuzma, all playing the same position. I mean, Corey Kispert
doesn't make sense. Like, and then Bertans, obviously, we didn't even mention him. Like, and he
$20 million right there.
I like the idea of Spencer Dinwiddie and Bradley Beal being able to share the ball, and maybe Dinwiddie can grow his off-ball game because that's really what he's going to have to do if they're going to work together.
And what, you got KCP at the 3 or
Kispert? We didn't talk about Kispert. They have Kispert there too. I know you go, meh, but he's good. Like, they took him 15th. Like, genuinely, there isn't like many topics you can bring up with this team because it's just a log jam with this team. Like, you look at like Aaron Holiday acquired in a trade too. Aaron Holiday is a good backup guard, but again, where and who is he going to play with that can actually benefit his game? Because this team is just full of question mark after question mark. Rui, we don't know anything about. I think I saw he unfollowed like everybody on IG, so hopefully he's okay. I'm not going to speculate on what it is.
No clue what's going on, okay. But he's coming off of what was a pretty good, like overseas performance. So that's the thing. Like, it looked like Rui had like the way he finished last year and the way he was looking already. I was just like, I mean, Ricky's probably right. Rui is a guy in the NBA. Like, he's definitely stepped it up.
And then Denny was just used completely wrong last year. But the one thing we do have to remember with this team is that they're upgrading from the worst coach in the NBA to like even just like Wes Unseld. I've wanted him to get a job for a while. I think Retro on our Discord as well.
2 years we were putting him at every single coach opening. We're like, and Wes should be going here or here or here.
I just think that like. Man, I think I said this when he got hired, is I wanted him to get a job so bad. I really wish he didn't get this job because I don't like. Yes, this team could be a play-in team if everything falls right and the talent's there. And Bradley Beal's tremendous, so he could literally will them to a play-in spot. I truly do believe.
I think Spence, Bradley, KCP. I guess if Rui is back, Rui. Otherwise, you've got Kuz. And then pick a center.
I think that it really
that's a legitimate lineup.
I think the lineup should be, and I know it won't be, but when they're in a couple months, when everybody's hopefully healthy again, you could see Dinwiddie. I'm going to keep calling him Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal, Denny, Rui, and Gafford. I would love to see that lineup, just because I think that team is good. Like, that team, if Denny can actually be used properly and not how he was last year, and he gets healthy again, which I believe he will be in a couple months. This team is still fun.
Could you imagine the bench bucket brigade with having Kuzma, Trez, and Bertans out there together?
And Kispert, just throw all four of them together and then throw a guard with that team.
Ain't nobody playing defense, but we don't care. Like that they would score on anyone. It's hilarious. So
Howell and that's a running the point.
Howell would be point. I mean, till Cassius, my boy, gets called up again. But like,
actually, Holiday would have been. Yeah, Holiday.
Maybe. I think he's playing more like a 2-guard in my mind, but he's just so small. I know he's a small.
No, but where is he? No, I'm saying where is he going to play? Because this team, like, there's too many people. Like,
so that's the thing I want to bring up. We just sat here and praised the Hawks for like 10 minutes because their depth is fantastic, and meanwhile we're talking so much trash about the Wizards and their depth. And the point I want to bring up is the difference between the two teams and their situations. What the Hawks have is legitimate NBA starter talent, and there's clear lines for like what everyone's role, what everyone's job is on the team, what they're bringing to the table. It's clearly defined, everything is there, and you know like the pecking order of who is where. I feel like this team is Bradley, Beal, and Spence, and everything else is being thrown at a wall, and we're just like, no, we'll see. Kispert could be a 3. He could be a 4. He could be a starter. He could be a bench. He could be a third unit. We don't like so much of this team is, and maybe I don't want to say it's because I'm not like an insider on the Washington scene because I've watched every summer league. I've watched preseason shit. Like I just don't know who is going to be what on this team yet. Yeah. So that's why it's different. Like the depth on one team can be seen as a benefit and a massive thing. Meanwhile, this team just feels like a bunch of guys without really a plan crafted around how they're all going to work.
You can see a vision with one, you can't see a vision with the other. It's as simple as that. Dave, last time for this division, buy one, sell one. Who we buying?
I'm buying Denny. I love Denny. I've always wanted to see him used, with his actual skill set instead of stand in the corner and shut up by his previous coach. But also low-key buying Thomas Bryant because, again, like he might get moved. Like I think him or Trez will get moved off this roster by the end of the season. I don't like Trez, so I'm gonna say I'm low on him.
I'm gonna agree with you on there. I'm gonna sell Trez. I'm going to buy the fuck out of Gaff Daddy stock.
Okay.
Love me some Daniel Gafford. One of the only guys I actually saw hang with Embiid last year during his entire tear. So,
dude, he is just a bounce house, just straight up.
That'll do it for the Southeast Division. We will see you guys on the next video. I don't know which order they're going to go in, so I'm not going to say exactly what's going on next. But we will say, and leave your comments down below if you disagree with us. I'm sure that some fans of your teams will disagree with us, especially probably the Wizards fans that we just trashed your team construction.
We just said your team could be a playoff team.
Yes, we did say, like...
And we don't even fucking know what they are.
Very true. Leave your comments down below. Again, Patreon, Discord, channel members, all down below with the same benefits. And we will see you guys in the next one.